right. Look who we got on here tonight. Weston Hinson.
So glad to be
How
here
you
with
doing,
you,
Weston?
Bobby. I'm great, buddy. How are you?
Man, I'm good. It's been a while since we've been together and went out to eat. What's the deal?
Man, with your schedule and you running all over the country singing and me and Christy doing the same thing, we just got to find time for one another. That's just basically how
It's
we got to
hard to
do
do
it.
that. Yeah.
It
We got to
is.
do
It
it.
is.
We went to was it Longhorn last time? And
Yeah, and then we ran into friends and family
we did.
that's
Yeah.
me and you. We're friends and family basically. So we got to do it.
That's right.
I gotta find this podcast so I can share it. And so
Well, it's on the Bobby Bowen Show Facebook page.
the
So you have
Bobby
to go on there.
Bowen Show. Bobby
Bobby
Bowen
Bowen Show, man.
Show.
It's the
All
hot new
right,
show
there
on
it is.
Facebook.
There it is. I see it right now.
You see us?
Yes, I do.
All right. And we're going to have people that are going to join us and not video, but they're going to join us and make comments and ask questions. So it's just going to be a fun night. But you guys, y'all keeping the roads hot like we are.
I am.
Putting out some good music. And you just recently put out a new video. And I want the folks, if they haven't seen it already, I want them to see it.
Oh man, it was a fun video to make, and we decided that was going to be our first single off the project. The project is called Sundays Never End by the Hinson family. You can get that right now at thehinsonfamily.com. And that song was written about my grandfather, Cecil Hinson, who was my father, Kenny Hinson's daddy. And he lived a rough life starting out. Long story, but just to say in a condensed version, he found Jesus on the way home from work one day, turned his life around, gave his life to Jesus on the way home from work, and became a preacher. And from that day forward, changed the trajectory of all his life, his family's life, his kids, and now his grandkids and their kids. And so it's Father's Day was Sunday. And we celebrated that memory, and we made a video about it and released it just a few weeks back, and it's over 350,000 views now here on Facebook.
That's awesome.
And we want you to be able to go out and see it as well. So
well, I'm going to show it here. I'm going to show it here in just a second.
Very cool. Yeah.
But your grandpa left quite a legacy, man. Was he a singer as well?
He liked to pick and grin some. He played, matter of fact, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. Matter of fact, it's, let's see, left-handed. That banjo right there.
Yeah.
That's his banjo.
Oh, cool.
That when he passed, that became my daddy's banjo. And then it became my banjo when my daddy passed. And so
your daddy is Kenny.
Kenny Hinson.
Kenny Hinson. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk a lot about your dad. Got a lot of questions because I'm a huge, huge fan. Of course, man. Thousands of people are. So everybody's got questions about your dad. We sure do miss him. And, Father's Day just happened. And I know it's a rough time for you, man, because you don't have your dad. And the anniversary of his death is coming up really soon. Was that in July?
July 27th. Yes, sir.
July 27th. So that's coming up too. How many years has that been?
This year it will be 28 since he's passed away. Yeah.
It just don't seem possible.
Mm-mm.
Wow, man. We sure miss him, and what a voice, what a voice. I mean, he has influenced so many people, including me. And I can tell you, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if it hadn't been for my dad and your dad. I mean,
oh man,
and
what a legacy that you've been doing and leaving for your family, and what a musical genius you are. And I've loved your music for a while with Mid-South, and you guys, your voice is just so smooth, and I love what you do.
I appreciate that, man.
We're
going to talk more about that in just a second, but I want to show the video, Preacher Man video.
Yeah. Oh, please do. Thank you.
Let's check it out. Here we go.
He was radically saved, pulled from the grave the moment that God showed up. Headed home one day, totally changing that rusted old beat-up truck. And everybody knew there was something new, but they couldn't quite explain. The man who left for work that morning didn't come home the same. He became a fire-breathing, devil-chasing, soul-saving, life-speaking, heart-praying kind of a man. From Monday to Sunday, he lived the same way, wrecking all the devil's plans. And he walked the talk and he talked the truth with a Bible in his hand. Everybody knew my old grandpappy was a Rocky Top preacher man. Oh! Well, he'd preach the cross and he'd reach the lost at many a back road church. And from town to town and miles around, people come to watch God work. And everybody knew there was something new, but they couldn't quite explain. The proof was on those homemade altars where sins were washed away. He was a fire-breathing, devil-chasing, soul-saving, life-speaking, heart-praying kind of a man. From Monday to Sunday, he lived the same way, wrecking all the devil's plans. And he walked the talk and he talked the truth with a Bible in his hand. Everybody knew my old grandpappy was a Rocky Top preacher man. Devil-chasing, soul-saving, life-speaking, heart-praying kind of a man. From Monday to Sunday, he lived the same way, wrecking all the devil's plans. And he walked the talk and he talked the truth with a Bible in his hand. Everybody knew my old grandpappy was a Rocky Top preacher man. I said everybody knew my old grandpappy was a Rocky Top preacher man.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it's awesome, man.
That. That's a fun song, right
love
there.
That song. Yeah, it is.
Is that everywhere we go? That song, it just gets a great response, and
I bet you got them on their feet, man, shouting and throwing babies and all kinds of stuff.
People just have fun with it, and you know, it's just a fun song. I love it.
Yeah. So, who did the video for that?
Well, we actually did it ourselves. Jordy, my daughter Jordy, that sang with us for 9 years, and her husband Chris. My wife and I are getting. My wife's already a photographer, and we're getting more into the video production realm of things to add that into. I do a lot of music production, and so we're adding kind of video production more to our repertoire. And so we did the video, and so Jordy and Chris, her husband, shot the stuff, and Jordy did it with the gimbal and with her phone and some other camera
stuff. You have a drone too?
And and my son-in-law had a crash course in drone videography, and I said, just treat it like a video game. That's basically what he plays video games some, and so when he kind of got that idea of it, it was nothing flat, man. He got it.
Yeah,
like it was nothing. So he did a great job.
Great, man. I
didn't
know Christy play guitar.
Yeah, and matter of fact, we have a mandotar that she plays, which is a mandolin that looks. They play it like a guitar, and so she's a little bit of a beginner, but she's coming along nicely, and so she plays it on stage.
My wife plays a uke bass. Have you seen one of those?
Yeah, I have. Matter of fact,
ukulele bass.
Yeah, a friend of ours, I think Rob McKeithen, he plays, I think, a uke bass. He's got one of those.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that resonant acoustic.
Yeah, it almost sounds like a doghouse bass. It's got that thumpy.
Yeah, a little bit like a small upright bass kind of feel to it. Yeah,
sure does. Yeah,
it's really
my wife
neat.
is a beginner too, like your wife. She's a beginner, but she's doing a great job. doing a great job.
I'm a
playing
beginner
bass.
at most things. I'm just good at faking it. So
Yeah, me too. I've been faking it for 40 years.
Yeah, same here. I'm 40 years old. I fake most stuff. So yeah,
Are you
there you
40
go.
years old?
I'm 40 years. See this gray hair
Man,
coming
I
in
was
right
just
now
getting
through here.
started when you were born, man.
Oh man, hey, yeah, but you're doing a great job at it.
Well, I
That's the big
appreciate
deal.
it. You know, speaking of your dad, back in 1995, I believe that was the year he passed away, wasn't it? In 95?
Yes, sir. 1995. Yeah.
We don't call me sir, man.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. No.
Yeah, bro.
We were at the Grand Ole Opry House doing a Christian Country Music Association award show, and we won Vocal Band of the Year that year. And I think you were there. I think you were there with your mother.
Okay.
Because your dad was in the hospital, and he got an award that night. And I believe you and your mom accepted the award.
Oh wow.
I think it must have been Pioneer, something like that.
Yeah. I think I remember that.
You were just a kid, man, just a little kid.
Was it? Yeah, I think I do remember that.
It was in 95.
Yeah.
And when we won our award, I mentioned your dad. I don't know if your dad saw it or not. I hope he did, because I mean he just meant so much to me. I had to sneak him in there a little bit. So this is what I said 28 years ago. And there's one person I'd really love to thank, and that's a man by the name of Kenny Hinson, who was a giant influence on my life. If we were up for another award, I might give him this one, you know, because he deserves it more than we do, I think. But
wow, that means a lot, brother. That's you would compliment Daddy so much like that. But I think that you should probably have won an award for hair, though.
I was going to say, check out that hair, man.
that hair, though, man, that's
way down
hair right there, man. Yeah. If I could have hair like that today, I think I may just go for that. That legacy he left to touch people's life like that goes beyond just singing. That is, to me, that's an anointing that God placed on his voice that transcended a vocal ability. Yeah. And that's an anointing to me. And that's something you can't replicate.
No.
And that's why I've always said I'm not out there trying to be Kenny Hinson, because you can't be that. No. Because God has called us all to be individuals and workers in the field that he's put us in. And all I'm doing is honoring Dad and honoring the calling that God has put on me. And that's all I ever want to be, is who God has called me to be. But as long as I've got breath in my body, I will always honor my heritage and honor my daddy as much as I can, because I sure as everything in me love my daddy.
Oh, sure. I mean, when you sing "Call Me Gone,"
that's a tall order too.
Him, you know, you got to sing it like he did.
Man, that's a tall order too.
It is. I've tried to sing that song, and it's hard.
When that song comes up in requests, I usually tell them that's $100 request too.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's like one of those ones. It's like, Lord, can this cup pass from me? If there's any way, Lord, is there another way to get through this? But but that's the song that he was known for. But you know, I do the best I can. No, there's
man. I was listening to it today. Just you're spot on, man. Actually, you did something on that last chorus that he didn't do.
Oh, what's that?
I'm trying to remember exactly. You went up on a note that he never went up on.
Oh, he probably did at some point. You know, he didn't do it the same.
I don't have it with me right now, but I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. But anyway, I thought Kenny didn't even do that. You know, it just sounded great.
Sometimes I'll do things that I'm like, well, I don't know, should I have done that or should I have not done that? But sometimes I hear things and some people say, well, what would your dad have done that? Or should you have done that? I don't know. If it sounded good, maybe I should have. If it didn't sound good, no, I shouldn't have.
But you know, like I'm sorry. Do you feel like you
No,
have
no.
the range you had?
Depends on if it's Sunday morning or not. If it's
That's
Sunday morning, probably not.
But it didn't
But
matter to him, man. He could sing, and I've heard stories about him being just sick as a dog, and got out.
oh
Kelly
yeah,
was telling me he'd be out there, he'd be sick, didn't have much of a voice, but when he hit the stage, you couldn't even
oh
tell it.
yeah, oh yeah. He's the consummate professional, man.
Yeah,
You could just depend on him. He was dependable. Matter of
yeah.
fact, I had to go to the doctor today. I had sinus infection and drainage.
Mm.
I had to clear that up, but
Welcome to Nashville.
exactly.
Yeah,
Born and raised here, and I'm still not used to it.
yeah,
But if I'm to compare myself to what I would consider to be near perfection, people say I've never heard your dad hit a bad note. I mean, I've heard it.
yeah.
There's out there recordings where
Oh
I've
yeah,
heard it. But it's like even when you hear the imperfections, it's all still so good.
oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
just to compare yourself to that is not. You can't.
You can't. No.
Because it's just unfair to do it. I don't have the range. I don't think I'm not quite there. He was, I think, something ridiculous like 5 octaves or something like that. I
Wow.
may be
Yeah,
4.5,
yeah,
where I'm
yeah,
comfortable, where I can record in, so to speak, and replicate
yeah,
it pretty regular. I mean, I'm pretty comfortable at 4. I can stretch it to 4.5.
yeah,
If you had to really put a gun to my head, I could reach 5,
yeah.
but I'm not going to want to replicate it, you
Right.
know? So,
Yeah. What kind of dad was he? I mean, when he'd come home off the road, were you there waiting on him and give him a big old hug, glad to see him? And I mean, how did he? What kind of dad was he?
most of the time I was asleep because it was like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah, that's true.
But when he was home, oh, he was all about kids. I mean, from daylight till dark, it was all about the kids and the family. And
That's
unless he
cool.
had to be in the studio,
Yeah,
and then even then, it was everybody talked. He always talked about his kids, always talked about his family, loved his kids and
yeah,
family, and he was a family man.
yeah,
And if he had to discipline his kids, he's just depressed, from all accounts.
yeah. I hate
And
that too.
sometimes he had to. He would just say, "Hey, bury your face in the pillow and pretend like like I'm beating you, and your mom's going to be satisfied with that." So,
Yeah. So was he? Did he spank you, or what I say is whip? Did he whip you?
oh yeah, I mean, he whooped us because we needed it. I mean,
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I mean, anybody who's ever met a Hinson knows we needed it.
yeah,
But to be honest, my dad knew how to get through to me more because I was more um, of a tender-hearted one. My dad actually got through to me better one time because he reversed the role of you did wrong, but I'm going to make you whoop me because you need to understand the feeling that I have to go through whipping you.
yeah,
I
yeah.
hate it. And he did not like having to do it. And he said, this tears
Uh,
me apart every time. And so he did the
yeah.
psychology of what it's like having to whip somebody you love for
That old
something,
saying, "It's going to hurt me worse than
right.
it hurts you,"
This
is
hurts me more than
exactly
you.
true.
Yeah,
When you
exactly.
become a parent, you know what that means. Yeah,
Right.
sure.
And so, and of course, I never did it again. So
Yeah,
there you go. It worked.
I was the
And
same with
so
my dad, man. It only
now
took one time. You know.
I'm not quite sure if my sister's watching, but I don't think that ever worked with her. But anyway, but no,
Maybe he
my
wasn't quite
sister.
as strict on her as he was you.
Oh no, I think
Daughters are a little different.
my
You
sister
know,
got away with a lot more than I did.
that's true. That's the way it
But
goes. Yeah,
but she was a daddy's girl, so
yeah, yeah,
yeah. But daddy, he was amazing. But as none of us are perfect, but he was quite amazing.
yeah. First time I heard the Hinsons live, I was 14 years old. I saw them in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and I had heard of them before that. My parents went to I think they had the Quartet convention one year in Dallas back in the 78, 77 or 78, something like that.
It was like in Dallas 1 year, wasn't it?
1 year, yeah.
Yeah.
And so they went, and of course my dad took his big boom box, to record everybody. And the Hinsons came on, and he started recording them, and man, they fell in love with them, brought it back home, and bought a bunch of records. And Out of the West they came, and the other records they had back then. And man, I put them on the turntable and started playing them. And I was a big Happy Goodman family fan.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there wasn't nothing like the Goodmans and Johnny Cook.
Well, I mean, a lot of people were, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I heard the Hinsons, I was like, man. Plus they were younger too.
I heard somebody put it like this: the Happy Goodmans were just this polished, Pentecostal type group, and the Hinsons were kind of that, but unpolished and turned up a dial.
Yeah,
and just unpolished and just hit the gas on it.
Yeah,
and and it's like the blue collar turn it up a dial version of that.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, maybe, I don't know. Sometimes they could get a little sophisticated, but I must ask you don't happen to have that little, as I call it, bootleg Dallas recording, do you still?
I would have to ask my sister, because I think she's the one that recorded it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. That was a long time ago on a cassette. You know how they don't last.
Well, we're gonna have to.
I do have some recordings of them live.
We're going to have to get sister to be a little touched by the Spirit of God to go find
Exactly.
Because I get people sending me that stuff all the time. I love it. So if you're out there in Facebook world and would you say Rumble? We're out on Rumble, right?
Yeah.
If you're out there watching and you happen to have any of those, I love old bootleg recordings of the Hinsons from the audience, because my daddy was just different everywhere they went.
Yeah.
So I love getting those, and
I used
I'll
to
inbox me and I'll give you an address.
I used to do that too. Before I started singing with Mid-South, I loved them so much that we would drive 500 miles to see the Hinsons.
Wow. That's dedication.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would take my little boom box with me and I'd record, I've got them at the Quartet Convention back in '84, singing. And I've got most of my recordings were after Larry left. I do have one. They were in Texarkana when Yvonne, Chris and Yvonne were both there.
So were they switching first half, second half kind of thing?
Yeah. Chris sang the first half and Yvonne came, and then they kind of finished it out together. They kind of sang together. Yeah. I never shall forget the day right there at the end,
yeah.
But it was really great.
They kind of did that with.
I think I still have that.
Yeah, they kind of did that with Uncle Larry.
I think I still have that
too.
Recording.
Yeah.
Yep. I saw Eric the first time in Fort Worth, and I didn't know that Larry had left. And I'm like, man, Larry looks like he's gotten a little taller and lost weight. But it was Eric. I said way back in the back. So but man, they just. Yeah, they never lost a beat, even though they lost Larry, and and then Chris left, and Yvonne came back, and then Bo, So I mean, it was they just kept on trucking, man, sounding good.
Oh yeah.
Actually, to be honest with you, I liked them better after Larry had left and Chris had left. I guess because Kenny was featured more, and it was more country to me after. Yeah, the harmonies and everything was more country than Southern gospel sounded.
Yeah, well, Dad also kind of had to take on more of a versatility and kind of do more part adjustment.
Yeah,
with the roles, because Larry kind of sang more of a higher role with harmonies, and so Dad would flip and invert a little more.
Yeah,
with Eric and Bo, and
he had to get on up there on some of those songs. He had to kind of stretch himself to, because I never heard him sing that high until after Larry left. Then he started getting on up there. Yeah,
and Eric and Bo were definitely very talented.
Yeah,
and had very good voices and very good singers.
Yeah,
and in their own respect. but Dad definitely. I remember hearing stories from the band and from different folks especially when they got back in the One More Hallelujah tour, where the original founding 4 members came back.
Yeah.
And Dad was used to kind of the lower register of everything, where he kind of had to jostle back and forth between the low harmony and the high harmony and leads and all that kind of stuff. And then they went back to Larry singing in a higher part, and Dad could kind of get back in his more baritone lead range, except for the song "What on Earth Are You Waiting For," which was ridiculously high.
Yeah.
But Dad kind of was like, oh, there's that normal range again, because Larry kind of took that. But yeah, it was more of a conventional sound with the original 4, with Larry.
Yep.
And more of a country sound when they converted over to the others. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a few comments over here. I'm gonna throw a couple of them up. You know who Kenny Dawson is?
Oh yeah, brother Kenny Dawson, man.
Kenny.
He's gone through some health stuff recently.
Has.
Been praying for brother Kenny.
He's a great singer. He's another Kenny Hinson fan, you know.
Oh man, I love him.
He was my hero for sure.
But I don't know if Kenny can make it, but we're going to be out in Rowlett, Texas. I know he lives out there in west of that, but we're going to be out in Rowlett, Texas, July the 2nd. If you can make it, brother Kenny, we'd love to see you.
Yep. Haven't seen Kenny in many, many years. He used to sing with the Halyards, and we used to do some concerts with the Halyards. When I first joined the group, we were a quartet, man. I had to wear the matching suits and keep my hair cut short.
Did you wear the crushed velvet like the Hinsons did?
No, we didn't do that. I never wore the bow tie either. I never did that. So I never had to do that. But I did wear the matching suits.
I was going to say there's Glenda Mayberry, which she had the Hinsons come up to Marion, Illinois, and she videoed. If you watch that One More Hallelujah video tape that they came out with just after Dad passed away, she had the video that she recorded at the high school auditorium, I believe it was. And she videoed that whole last portion of that, where I think they started with He Can on that video and went through the lighthouse and stuff like that. That's her video of that. So that's Glenda. And Alice Holt Starnes, she's over there in Eastern Tennessee. Her mama and her are watching. I want to say hello to them. Love them. Her mama Linda has been having some health issues and been praying for her. Now, her daddy's actually been recovering from cancer. Been praying for him too. Wow. And so praise God for his recovery.
You know Eric Emmerman?
I do.
Oh, Eric,
yeah, haven't seen him in a while either. Man,
he's always watching. I'll be seeing him on the 4th of July out in Marshfield, Missouri. We're doing a Mid-South concert on the 4th of July.
You guys are going to be not far from here, aren't you?
Well, we were going to be in Gallatin, but we're going to put that off to next year. We just had to reschedule.
Well, man, I was going to come see you.
You were?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. You just have to wait till next year, man.
Well, I guess I'm just going to have to wait with bated breath.
With bated breath, whatever that means.
I don't even know what that means.
I have no idea.
You know. But I'm enjoying this, man. So let me ask you some questions. Have you always played the same instrument with a group, or have you kind of gone around from instrument to instrument?
Well, I started out on bass. When I was hired, I was playing bass and singing lead. And I did that all through my Mid-South career. I played the bass. But when we started our family group, of course, we didn't have a band. And I was the band. And I thought, if we're going to sing with tracks, it's going to look kind of goofy if I'm up there standing there holding a bass, playing a bass with tracks. So I thought acoustic guitar would look a little better, look a little more natural. So I played acoustic when I was a kid, when I sang with my original family group out of Arkansas. And so I just went back to that, and it just, just came back natural to me. But bass is my main instrument. So,
but
I'm not even good on either one of them. So,
well, you are a lot better than me at it. So, so what is your favorite song? What is your go-to? So, like, if you were to say, somebody just spur of the moment said, "Hey, there's Bobby Bowen. Sing us something." What would be the one thing that you'd say? Well, let's strike it up and go. What would you go to?
Well, probably probably one of the most recognized songs that I did was Down by the Tabernacle. That was probably one of the most recognized. We get a lot of requests for that. We still sing it. We still sing it as a family.
Wow. Yeah.
But we had a lot of songs: City Lights, Resting Place, just a bunch of stuff out. That My Child was a big song for us back in 1986. And we were on the charts. It got up to number 4 on the Singing News charts. And I believe the Hinsons and Gold City and the Cathedrals and the Kingsmen were right there above us. So it was hard to break into number 1 when those groups were ahead of you, It's just kind of hard.
Yeah.
When you got them. But I think it was Call Me Gone was after that. Was before that, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what song the Hinsons had out back around 86. But it was a top 5 song for sure.
Yeah, I think Call Me Gone, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure exactly, but I don't know that the studio cut did as well. I believe that it was the live cut. I may be mistaken on that because I was barely born when all that happened. But
yeah,
I think the live cut actually worked out better for them than the studio cut did. Where Sid's got a lot more energy than the studio cut did.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and he sang it to me better, way better.
Yeah, I love watching the videos on YouTube that when they were at Opryland.
Oh yeah,
Call Me Gone. It's just, man, sounds so good.
My favorite cut of that video, him singing that, was actually on Glenda Mayberry's video that she sent me the full concert of that Marion, Illinois, when he did that. I mean, because he's just, you can tell he's just kind of fooling around, experimenting a little bit about how do I want to do this a little different.
Yep.
And there's actually, I have somewhere in my tape collection, and I'll have to see if I can find it. They're doing a rehearsal for the One More Hallelujah tour at Blondie Church of God in Hohenwald, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of goofing around, and they're just cutting up and zinging each other. And if one of them messes up, or you can hear Uncle Ronnie say, "Oh, bless him, Lord," and all this kind of stuff. And Dad does this rendition of Call Me Gone, and he just doesn't care. Like, it's no effort, nothing like it. And you're going, and then he gets to this little place. He's saying, "Call me anything, but or any little thing you want to," and he just starts messing around. Everything up to that point, and you're going, just drooling, like, holy cow, effortless, just doesn't care. And you're like, everybody and their mother would give every appendage they could, arms, legs, feet, everything, just to be able to sing that way, and it's just nothing.
Yeah. What amazed me about your dad was he could throw in a bunch of words and sing it, and didn't be right on time. I mean, it didn't matter. Man.
Oh yeah, and if he wanted to push that meter just a hair because he wanted to, and then land right where he needed to be, you're like, master class, buddy.
He was, man, just a master.
And I never got a chance. My dad worked with my sister some. Because I never really showed much interest in singing. Any chance, Glenda Mayberry, any chance all the Hinsons getting together for a reunion? I don't know, because most of the originals that sang are Uncle Ronnie and Yvonne are still alive, but Dad and Larry are gone.
Yeah.
Chris is still living. But
you could,
I don't know.
Do the lead. Bo could sing the baritone, and Yvonne and Ronnie. There you go.
You have to have Bo and Eric see who's going to sing that part.
That's right. Yeah.
Tell them to flip a coin. I don't know.
Well, Eric could sing his songs he sang, and Bo could sing the songs he sang when he was with them. So they could do it that way. Well,
I don't know. They might have something to say about it. Who knows? But I'll sing all the Dad's stuff. We'll say that. How about that?
Yeah. Definitely.
But I would be glad to sing. I've sang with Uncle Ronnie a lot of times. I'd sing with him again. Love singing with him. I'll sing with Aunt Yvonne. I've sang with Chris Freeman. Sang with the Freemans many times. And so I've never had a chance to sing with. I sang a song with Bo at Uncle Harold's funeral. We've just never crossed paths.
Yeah.
In our groups, and I've sang, I think, a song with Eric one time. I never shall forget the day he came on stage. But
yeah,
and it was Bo, Eric, me, Larry, and Yvonne, and Christy.
Wow.
And Jordy. We all sang that one song.
That's cool.
So there you go. That was kind of a reunion on one song.
Yeah.
You know. So there you go.
Yeah, when the Hinsons decided, well, your dad decided to get off the road, and of course they all had to quit because you can't go on without Kenny. You know, you just
no.
I mean, I thought, well, maybe they could, Bo could start singing lead, and they could get Eric back, and they could just keep it going. But it just wouldn't be the same with that old Kenny.
Well, and I think they knew that, and I think Uncle Ronnie kind of knew that.
Yeah.
And that's why they didn't try.
Yeah.
But Uncle Ronnie, to me, today, Uncle Ronnie sings better now than he ever did. Even with the group. I mean, it's weird. He's going to be 77 in October, but he sings nothing like a 77-year-old man.
No, he doesn't.
It's crazy. I'm like, no, why didn't you sing that like that? Back then, because he sang more like an old man back then to me than he does now. But it's and I don't mean any disrespect by that. It's just it's kind of like he sang older style then than he does now. But I don't know. Maybe it was kind of the way he was told. I don't know. But
yeah, I guess. Big Mid-South fan. Love the Hinsons and watching the old videos when Kenny turned sideways singing facing the group. Was that more for the band or for Eric and Bo? I always wondered that too.
Well, it depends on I guess each circumstance. Sometimes Dad may have heard something that somebody did he didn't like, maybe. I can only speak for myself because I never got the chance to sing with Dad. That'd be probably a question for Eric or Bo or the band. I know for me, if there's ever been something like, say, for instance, if Jordy did something, I needed to get her attention, I will maybe turn sideways and look at her, get her attention and say, hey, did you catch it? And she'll know exactly what she did. And I don't really have to even say anything. But since I do more tracks and stuff, there's not much for me to do with the band. I've sang with a band a few times, but for the most part, I would probably say a lot of that was more for dynamic interaction. Most likely, probably was less correctional, more dynamic, I would say.
Yeah, I noticed Bo would look at him more than Eric did.
Eric kind of.
I think Bo was just trying to. The way I looked at it, I think Bo was trying to stay with him as much as possible.
I think, in from every conversation I've had with Bo about that tenure is the best word. Bo was more of a student, probably than what I gather Eric to have been. I think Eric was more nervous about it because you can kind of tell body language, and this is just my perception. This is not gospel, if you will, for me. This is just my perception.
Yeah.
They'll have a whole different tale. I mean, don't just take this as gospel. So my perception was on stage body language would say Eric was a little more nervous because he had to fill bigger shoes. Larry was pretty big shoes to fill, and he was kind of made to do what Larry did, be Larry. And Bo was more of a student, listen to Uncle Kenny, do everything he says, stick on him like glue.
Yeah.
And so I think Bo was more of that student of, don't make him tell you twice.
Yeah.
Don't, just feed off of everything he does without him having to tell you, kind of thing. That's where I think Bo was watching him more.
Yeah.
If it was my picking up on that, that's where I take from that.
It would have to be a little intimidating singing with him, you know. He's such a masterful singer. And
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true or not. Kelly told me that after Eric left, they hired a guy, I think he was from Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Billy Ray Brown.
You remember that?
Yeah.
You're pretty young, but I don't
Billy Ray
remember his name.
Brown was I think now I've heard tales of, I don't know that whole tale. I think probably he was between Eric and Bo.
Yeah.
I think he was like a couple months, I think.
Yeah, he wasn't very long. I never heard him with them.
Now I've got a video of them in Muskogee. I think it was Muskogee or McAllister, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Where you had Yvonne, Chris, Jana, Larry, Eric, and Bo, and Billy Ray Brown all on the stage at the same time.
Really?
And they all sang on the same concert together.
Wow.
Yeah. Huh. And so Uncle Ronnie had Billy Ray Brown actually come up and sing, like after they did this Till the Land, rather. He had Billy Ray Brown come up and do Larry's verse to Till the Land.
Yeah.
Which, of course, it wasn't Larry, but Billy Ray did a good job.
Well, Kelly told me, and I don't know if he was just pulling my leg or whatever, but he said that they had talked about me before Bo came with them.
Well,
talking to me about coming and singing with them. I don't know if he was just pulling my leg or not. But
well, it all I can say is it wouldn't have been a mistake. We'll just say that.
It would have been a thrill of a lifetime to be even considered.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure that I would have.
Bo turned out.
I'm not sure that I would have left Mid-South to do it. I'm just not sure, you know.
Well, I think all the ends turned out well the way they.
Oh, it did, yeah.
But
sure.
I mean, Bo worked out very well.
Oh, sure.
Obviously,
yeah.
and Mid-South obviously turned out very well. But I don't think it would have been a mistake to have hired you. You have a fantastic voice and you're a fantastic presence. So that's just, again, my 2 cents.
Checks in the mail.
Well, you know, you did pay me a good amount to say that.
Yeah. So, I'd pay you a lot to be on this show with me, you know. But such a big celebrity.
Just a few compliments here and there, you know.
Yeah.
No, man, I'm glad to be on here with you. It's just fun. It's just two friends just chatting and then other people watching and watching me being corny.
So so let's go back again.
What you got?
Well, do you remember where you were when you found out your dad passed away?
In the room with him.
Were you in the room? Okay.
I was in the room right there next to him. Yeah.
So can you do you remember a lot of it, or?
I'll never forget it. Matter of fact,
can we hear it
vividly? Yes.
Yeah.
I can remember what happened. We were at home. We had just gotten taken home just a little while before, you know, just to let Dad rest. You know, the doctors had all kind of said it won't be long. You know, need to let him rest.
Yeah.
So we had been there off and on for days and weeks. He had been home a lot for home health, and then you know, he had stuff just start saying, you know, he needs to be at the hospital. It's too much to be able to home health to take care of it.
Yeah.
So he went to the hospital, and then my aunt Janet, my mother's sister, called and said he's basically taken a turn for the worst. They're saying it's time, come.
Yeah.
So of course, you know, we start praying, Lord, now's the time, raise him up. And we got taken to the room. There's a few of us in there. It was myself, my sister, a few of his siblings, which was Larry, my mom, my grandmother, and I can't remember everybody. There's a few of us in there. And a few of the nurses kept coming in and out. But the one thing I can remember that it's just never left my mind. I don't know if you remember back in those days, Benny Hinn had put out like praise music stuff where it's just piano and like really beautiful orchestrated music for prayer and you know. That's what they were playing as we were praying and believing God for a miracle. And there was not a soul alive that was near that boombox or whatever that was over there playing that music. And all of a sudden, that boombox just got so much louder. Like, I mean, it filled the room with that music, and you could just feel like the presence of God enter that room.
Yeah.
And it was just almost just like a warmth just enveloped you. And you could just see just a peace wash over him. And he hadn't been able to breathe like hardly at all.
Yeah.
And he just kind of, and then he just went.
That was
and
it.
So that was it. And before that, I can remember my mom was telling me that he would he would look at her and then look at the clock, and look at her and look at the clock. And then she said, "What are you looking at?" And then he would kind of look around the room like he was following like something, like it was something like a fly or something, like it was flying around.
Yeah.
But he wasn't, I don't believe he was seeing just in that room anymore. I think he was seeing past it.
Right.
Yeah. And then I think she said one time, he said, my mom's name is Debbie. And he said, "Debbie, don't you see him?" And he said, "Jesus is right there."
Wow.
Yeah. So
cool.
It's just, it's pretty cool.
So what, do you remember the last thing he said to you before he passed away?
He didn't really speak much. He had made his peace a few weeks, before that, because he didn't talk a lot because he had, feeding tube and stuff down his throat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but there was a few times he would, try to speak and say things, but it just wasn't a lot. So,
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So, when did you decide I'm going to be a singer and I'm going to travel and sing like my dad?
Very late in life. I didn't take it seriously because I fought it, because I knew the weight behind the decision.
Yeah.
It was I looked at it more because I knew the anchor, if you will, that follows second generation talent behind legends like that, if you will.
Yeah.
Writing coattails and things like that, the comments that would be told and said, and that's something I had to come to grips with and accept before I really decided I would do it. And come to accept that I'm not my dad, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. It's kind of like a pastor that pastors a church for a long time, and he decides to retire, and he passes it on to his son.
Right.
Well, the son has big shoes to fill, and he's always going to be compared to his dad.
Right.
So it kind of puts a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah,
it does. Sure that you kind of felt that way too.
Yeah, and the more I accepted that people are going to put that light on you, and I accepted that it's okay, because that it's one thing for them to expect it, and it's okay. It's one thing for me to realize that I've accepted that it's not, that I'm not that.
Yeah.
I don't have to fill the shoes, but I can also give the people what they want at the same time, while giving them what they didn't know.
Yeah.
They didn't know they wanted.
Yeah.
So while on one hand giving them the old that they remembered, and sliding in the new that hopefully that we believe that they will like, with the new material that we've written. Yeah, we've put out. We did a lot of old Hinson stuff when we first started, because we wanted, hey, here we are, kind of. Yeah. Here's our, old familiar stuff with a little new, and we've purposefully kind of steered away from doing old songs. Yeah, because we've already recorded that, And so,
yeah, I know from experience too. You know, when I go out to sing now, there's always some Mid South fans there, and they want to hear the old Mid South songs. You know, of
right,
course they do. Yeah,
right.
so I have to, you know, pull out.
Right. And we're always gonna, and when we go to concert, people ask, do you guys still do
Yep.
the old Hinson songs? Well, always,
Yep.
of course. And you always
Sure.
want to give the people what they want, because ultimately it's the people that will bring you back, and it's the people that support you. And you definitely want to give them
That's
what
right.
they want. And because
Yeah.
we love the people, and
Sure.
that they're the reason why we do it. And so
Yeah.
them and the Lord. And so, but the Lord is, it's our job to reach the people. So, and how can you feed people that won't eat the food, and so if they won't eat the food, you
It's
can't
true.
reach them. So,
Yeah. Got to make the people happy, man. They're the ones help.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, went off there for a second. Oh man,
And
this
we're
has been
back.
awesome. I really enjoyed
Yeah.
this.
Yes, sir.
Love talking about your dad, and but let's talk about you guys. You and Christy are out there singing and traveling and full time, and so it's just the two of you now, huh?
It is. Jordy had sang with us 9 years and did a wonderful job. We are so thankful to have had the 9 years, ups and
Yeah.
downs in both traveling time and busy schedules, and as well as workloads and all that, those kinds of things. But at the same
Yeah.
token, they've been wonderful years. I always tried to make sure that with Jordy, because she's not just an employee, she was our daughter, that wherever we go, we made sure that it was a fun experience. If we were anywhere near a landmark or something fun, that it was memorable. If we were near the Grand Canyon or Niagara Falls or something, we'd always want to make sure to take her where there was a memory that lasted a lifetime. And
Yeah. Yeah.
but now that it's just, Christy and I, now it's kind of neat because we can just go out and, hey, if we run into friends, we don't have to hurry back. So it's kind of neat. Yeah.
That is cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. How long did you start in 2009? Is that when it was when you started?
Yeah. Christy and I got married in 2000 and, oh Lord, when did we get married? Yeah, 2007.
You better know what it is. She's listening.
Yeah, she is. She's watching. And yes, November 30th, 2007. So we'll be 16 years this year. And
wow.
And so we've put out our first album in 2009. And
yeah. Okay.
So we've been going full time together, she and I, because when we started full time, we first started with Christy's mom and stepdad, Connie and Thomas Miller.
Okay.
And that was the first album we put out, was Weston Hinson By Faith. And so that was that album.
Okay.
It's called Home With You Tonight, one of Dad's songs. We did 5 cover songs.
Yeah.
And some songs Christy wrote. Matter of fact, I just saw a comment by Johnny McCoy. Christy has to carry him, and that's true. Johnny McCoy, matter of fact, Johnny F. McCoy there, he's a pastor in Atkins, Arkansas.
Oh,
and
cool.
That was a perfect segue, perfect time for me to read that. Preached a sermon about let go of the rope. And that's where he's the one that preached that sermon about that subject. And that's where that song, Let Go of the Rope, from that album came from. So a little shout out to my buddy, Johnny McCoy, and where that song came from, Let Go of the Rope, off that album,
Awesome.
Home With You Tonight. So Christy wrote that because of him. And so anyway, and so then the second album was when Christy and I went full time together, just she and I. So this is our second stint at just being a duo. And so we're trying it out again.
I agree with Kenny Dawson. Christy is a great writer.
Well, thank you, Kenny. And
she really is, yeah.
She is extremely, I think, undervalued as a writer, and unsung in her field as it's that. And the 2 or 3 or however many songs, I don't know, that I co-wrote with her. Preacher Man was one of them that we played a little bit earlier, that we co-wrote together with Nathan Woodard and Matthew Lawson on this project. that I did that one, and I think Condemned was the other one that I did. Condemned, the Lord gave that song to me, and I wrote the first 2 lines of the song, and I kind of just got stuck. Where do I go from here?
Yeah.
And so we got together again with the same 2 writers, Nathan Woodard and Matthew, and Nathan really helped Christy and I really pull that song out.
Nathan's awesome, man.
Oh, he's a beast.
He's an awesome writer and singer. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. And so Nathan's a great guy, and so Christy and Nathan really helped pull that song to where it is, and I can't say enough good about her, because if it wasn't for Christy on that song, because one of her big phrases to me, because I'm just going to be real honest and give a real assessment of myself. I'm an overthinker. I overthink almost everything.
Yeah.
And if it can be overthought, I'm going to do it. And so, and especially about writing, I try to get all too stinking deep and over theological about it, because I try to make a sermon out of a song, and you just can't do that. And she goes, keep it simple. Just keep it simple, stupid. She's like, you ever heard of that phrase?
Oh yeah. The old Kiss phrase. Yeah.
Right. And so I'm learning that from her. And she's like, it's not that your audience is stupid, but the attention span that you have in 3 minutes, you're going to lose them. And so she's very eloquent at doing that. And so she's my unsung hero in that field of writing. And I very much appreciate her expertise in that, and I don't think she gets enough credit in that. She's absolutely my hero in songwriting. There's another buddy of mine, Steve McEwen, been praying for him.
Oh yeah, Steve. Yeah.
Been going through some.
He's been
issues.
In the hospital. Going through some stuff.
We're going to be singing
our prayers.
Yeah, we'll be singing with him. One of his churches that is under his auspices this Sunday night. So
yeah, he hadn't booked us yet. I've been waiting on that for several years, but we just hadn't got it worked out yet. But hopefully we will for too long.
Well, I'll tell him when we're done with our rounds to have you.
Tell him to have us. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah,
yeah. So, but you know, I love Steve.
What's Eric saying here?
Bobby Bowen.
Bowen.
Is it Bowen or
Bowen? My name changed.
Well, see.
Thanks a lot, Eric.
And by the way, I have to clear up something, because I noticed there's a lot of people freaking out. Why did I change my name to Kenneth? So I need to clear that up.
Explain that.
Well, because Facebook, when they went to me saying, hey, we're going to verify you because you kind of have a following. All right. Yeah. So they said, well, we got to have your driver's license. My legal name is Kenneth Weston Hinson.
Okay.
And so some people are like, well, so you got hacked. And I'm like, no, didn't get hacked. So they made me go by my driver's license, which has my full legal name. And so anyway, I got tired of looking at Kenneth Hinson, because I've never gone by Kenneth Hinson except when I go, if I have to go something with a legal name. And so it looked weird. So I changed it back the other day. So it's Weston again. So we're all good.
Yeah.
Just to clear that up.
That's the reason why it's Kenneth Hinson. Yeah.
It was, but it's fixed.
Yeah. Eric said, typo, I meant Bowen. Well, thanks, Eric. Glad you cleared that up. I thought something happened. I thought I was Bowen all these years.
Well, we're going to let it slide.
Yeah, we're going to let it slide. Glenda Mayberry, you're going to see her 4th of July in Marshfield, Missouri with Mid-South. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I don't know. How far is that?
It's close to Branson. It's between
I'm
Branson
not going
or Springfield. There. Yeah, you won't drive that far.
No, I'm not driving. I love you, but not that much.
I wouldn't drive that far to see you either.
I wouldn't blame you either.
We need to do some concerts together.
Man,
what's the deal, man? Somebody needs to have us together.
You don't have a booking agent, do you?
I do it, man. I do it all.
Well, I do too. So then we don't have to go through all that red tape. No, there are some that throws me dates from time to time, but I'm not exclusive with anybody. So
no, but if there's a pastor out there watching, man, have
I do know
family and the Hinsons together, man.
Steve McEwen.
There you go.
And there's
Steve McEwen's the man.
Glenda Mayberry knows some people, and
Glenda can make it happen too. Yeah.
Glenda, I hear Glenda. I heard there was somebody on like a Glenda the Good Witch off of she could wave a wand and make stuff happen on what's that movie?
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it happen, Glenda.
Careful now, you're calling Glenda a witch.
No, I didn't call her one, but I remembered a movie that there was one.
Oh, that's right. Glenda, the Good Witch.
Are you related? Y'all have the same first name.
I've never seen Glenda with a wand, though.
She needs to get one. Glenda's
not. We got one here.
Glenda's
we got
precious.
One here, Weston. Here we go. Barry Boatwright is in Gun Barrel City, Texas. You know where that is?
I've been there, sang there. Yep.
Yeah. Have you sang at his church before?
I don't know. What church is that?
This is I'm
terrible
with church names.
It was a little church that was a
no. This is a pretty good sized church. Yeah.
Well,
it's a great church.
Bobby Bowen
we need to go down there.
Family.
Yeah, we need to go down there and do a concert together.
Yeah,
he's going to have Mid-South there in November.
Okay.
So let's work on something for next year, Pastor Barry.
Let's do it. I'm willing and able.
Awesome. Pack that place out.
All right, let's
get up there and sing. Get up there and sing a Hinson song together.
I've always wanted to. Yeah.
You know, I've never recorded a Hinson song.
Why not? I've never recorded a Mid-South song either, or a Bobby Bowen song.
Why not?
Well, I'll do it if you do it.
I'll do it. In fact, on our new CD that's coming out, whenever I don't know when it's going to be, I'm going to record one of your dad's songs.
Which one? Are you going to release that information?
Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to have you sing on there with me.
He cares. I love that song.
Have you sing on there with me.
How about it? Now, is it going to be in a key that's feasible?
Probably about the same key your dad did.
Oh, yeah. You going to play a sax on it? You going to put a saxophone on it?
I am going to play the sax. No.
You're going to play it? Oh, yeah. Can I be there for that?
No, I'm not a sax player for sure.
Oh, man. I know a guy.
I don't think I want a sax on it. Just,
who's producing? You producing it, or is Chris Goff going to do something for you?
Chris and I will. Yeah.
Very cool. Nice.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Chris sang with you for a while.
Yeah, he did for a hot minute. And then, he had some health issues and had to bow out, and we appreciate him for all he contributed to our group.
Yeah.
But then, but he had to bow out, and he's actually doing stuff in a church now. So
yeah,
he's a worked out for him.
Yeah,
he's a pastor now, Pastor Chris.
And he's lost. Have you seen him lately?
I have. We ran into him over at the Jolly Ollies over here in Hendersonville and ate dinner with him and Sherry and their 55,000 grandkids.
Yeah. They're all living with him now.
Yeah.
He's lost like 80 or 85 pounds, something like that. Just really good.
I kind of felt like, I was like, man, I felt good about losing like 35 pounds. And then he's like, I lost 80. I'm like, you know what? Nobody likes a bragger. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So,
well, Weston, I have thoroughly enjoyed this, and I appreciate you coming here with me.
Absolutely.
You are a great guy, and I'm glad to know you.
Likewise. Thank you.
I wish I'd have known your dad a little more. I mean, we sang together in different places, but I really didn't get a chance to just sit and just visit with him that much and get to know him like I wish I would have. But if he can hear us, from heaven, I don't know if that's possible or not, but I love him and I appreciate everything that he's contributed to gospel music and Christian country or country gospel, whatever you want to call it, and my life as well. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if not for my dad and your dad, the influence they put on my life. And I mean that, man.
Well, thank you. And
love him so much.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate your friendship, and I look forward to many years of it to come.
That sounds great. Well,
let's do some concerts.
Let's do it. Come on, pastors out there.
Yeah, let's get it together.
Be a great package, man. Be a great package. Let's do it, man. Love you. Hope to see you soon. God bless you.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.